Okay, we're recording. So yeah, you can repeat that you haven't been in my bedroom. That's great that you haven't been in my bedroom. That's actually a positive. Yes. So we were on with Dan Thiessen and Mike Desormeaux, but we were just talking about sleep. I get, I don't know, 20 minutes of deep sleep a night, but I get 3 hours or 3.5 hours of REM.
What are you measuring with?
I've measured with a Whoop. I've measured with an Aura.
Are they similar?
They match right on.
They match right on.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And my HRV reading will like be 16.
Oh, geez.
Like a great HRV for me is like 24.
That's horrible.
I know.
Yeah.
But I think for me, it's normal. Welcome. Hey, Dan, welcome to my life.
Yeah.
You think you got problems? I got an HRV score of 24. That's amazing.
Yeah.
We spend 33% of our day in sleep, here and there.
Okay.
If the average life expectancy is 80 years, that's 26 years of your life in sleep. Sleep is so important.
So you're going to tell me to get one of these 8 sleep things?
Yes, 100%.
Dude, I had the chilly mattress thing. It didn't change my scores at all.
Are you sponsored by 8 Sleep?
No.
Okay, good.
The best
but
thing.
I do have it, and I feel like I've hacked sleep, and it's so important.
So 8 Sleep, it's like a mattress. It goes on your mattress?
Yeah, mattress cover. And then there's a tube that goes to it almost looks like a computer tower.
Okay.
And then there's a water canister inside that. And that water circulates throughout this pad. So the mattress cover is independently temperature controlled. So my temperature is different from my wife's side of the bed. And this is fluctuating throughout the night as like it's monitoring your sleep patterns as well. So if you're getting too hot, it's going to cool you down. And this goes on the entire night.
I believe it helps most people.
It absolutely. Okay, hold on.
I'm going to.
You have the pillow. The
pillow
right?
is amazing. I love the pillow.
I say always start with the pillow.
Changed my scores.
Yeah.
I measured my scores for years.
You're only like 10% there. You have the pillow. You need the.
No, but I had the cold mattress thing.
But I don't know.
You think it was garbage?
Yeah, wasn't it too loud?
It was loud.
Yeah, this one's
I had
quiet.
the first model or whatever.
This one's super quiet.
You have to change the water because the water got like crusty or something. It's so true. Yeah, once a month you have to change the water.
Yeah. If I don't use that, so if we're traveling and we're somewhere in a hotel and I'm kicking off the sheets in the middle of the night.
But I think you're like a normal human who like gets better with these sleep hacks. I don't think I'm a normal human. Like these sleep hacks never help me. The only thing that helps me ever on sleep that I've been able to measure on Whoop and the Aura Ring, stop eating at like 7 o'clock for me. If I stop eating by 7, then my digestive system seems to be done with everything by the time I go to bed, which is usually around 11.
And how does that change your scores?
I will get marginally better scores. I'll get, instead of 20 minutes deep sleep, I'll get like an hour.
Jeez. And so you know that and you still eat after 7 o'clock?
No, I try not to.
Oh, okay. Good.
No, I try not to. Yeah, usually it's like 8. Okay. So, the odd time if you've done some crazy programming for us and I'm just like famished.
Yeah.
And then Dan in the back of my head would be saying, this is when you don't eat. And then I'm just like, kind of like, when you're I think that you've gone through this too. You're like, I'm so hungry right now. Like I have to eat. And sometimes I will break. But then even then, if I break, I'll have something like just protein or something.
When do you go to sleep? Like when's your normal?
It's always it's between 11 and 11:20, like clockwork.
Okay.
That's just because of my family keeping me up late. So it's all my family's fault. My preferred time to go to bed is 9:30.
So, but if you get to bed at 11 to 11:30, when do you get up at?
Now I sleep later because I want my sleep. And I've noticed that if I don't, because I went through 15 years of about 5 to 6.5 hours sleep. Yeah. And I can't do that anymore. So now I purposely get up at 7 a.m. That way I feel like I'm getting
You're in bed long enough for sure.
A full rest. Yeah. And I feel that that's useful. I still get up early like a bunch of times. Like tomorrow I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. Friday I'm going to get up at 5 a.m.
You just got stuff to do.
Yeah.
Will you get to bed earlier or no?
No, because then I don't see my family.
Yeah.
Because if my daughter's now 17, if she's working, my son, well, he's at Western right now, but it's just, for some, I like to unwind a little bit with Carol, watch one of our TV shows together, whatever kind of silly show we're watching. I kind of enjoy that time together. Yeah. So that's my bedtime.
Sorry. Yeah, if you do get this hungry,
8 sleep.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
We're trying to get us.
How are we getting commissions on the commissions? How are the commissions on the 8 sleep going, Mike?
Let's start with the pillow. The pillow is incredible.
Okay, I have to admit, the pillow is incredible.
Yeah, it's infused with carbon.
Except Mike made me get this pillow. You can't deliver it to Canada. I had to deliver it to a US address, and then I delivered it from the US shipping address that I have to Canada. And the customs fees I got on this thing were incredible.
It's ridiculous.
Why do we suck so bad though? Like, why can't we get this in Canada?
I don't know, but I paid $1 million for this pill.
Trudeau doesn't want to tax us for that or something. Like,
no, it's probably they don't want to deal with Canada. It's probably the company's choice that doesn't want to deal with Canada.
So the pill is amazing. It stays chilled somehow. Yeah. But Dan, going back to Tom's late night craving, so if you have something to eat, it sounds like it's going to throw off your sleep. I've experienced the same. So does a shake, would a shake do the same to you? What do you recommend as a late night snack if you're hungry?
So something protein based. So a shake could do the trick.
But will it affect sleep?
Probably still. But at this point, if your sleep's going to be affected because you're waking up hungry, then you got to pick your battles, right? I'd rather have the protein in my system so that, my muscle, I'm not going into like a state of my body feeding on my muscle for energy because I haven't eaten enough, if that makes sense. So I'd have something high protein with some like berries or something with some antioxidants, some complex carbs.
I do coconut water, your beef protein that you like, and berries.
Yeah.
Mix it all together.
Yeah. Something like that would be great.
I throw in collagen powder too, even though, Mike, you were saying we think it's kind of maybe bullshit. I don't know. I throw it in there as well.
No, yeah. No, I would. That's a good time. Yeah.
Now, would you throw like a sleep aid in there, like a magnesium or anything like that?
Yeah. So I have a sleep stack.
Oh, let's hear it.
So, yeah. So I think obviously sleep is the most important part of recovery. So anything we can do to help that process will go a long way. So I've played around with some stuff from Dr. Huberman and a couple of different podcasts and just see what works for me. But I'll take a combination of magnesium biglycinate, which is like it will absorb a little bit differently than other types of magnesium. I'll take L-theanine, which is shown to help you just kind of relax, especially if your mind is, on full race at nighttime, trying to, wind down. Now,
this is all in one shake?
Yeah. So these are just pills. Okay. So I just put these pills together and have it with some water. Okay. And I will take something called GABA, which they use GABA for people with high anxiety. So again, it's just like a mental relaxant more than anything. Help your brain shut off, help your body calm down. The magnesium helps your muscles relax and get into just a better state. There's something that I do want to try that has some good research on it is glycine. You get a lot of glycine in something like bone broth, but they're showing like 3 grams of glycine before bed can help put you in a deeper sleep for a longer period of time. So that's something that I will play around with next. So
I noticed, so that's interesting you're saying all this because Dr. Cowan recommended these for me to help my sleep, these Insomnitol chewables.
Yeah, so it has L-theanine.
Look what this has.
And I've used Inistol as well as one of mine.
So Inistol, 250 milligrams, L-theanine, 100 milligrams, L5-HTP, hydrotriptophan, 50 milligrams of vitamin B6 and melatonin. So I noticed this combo.
I'll never take melatonin personally.
Okay, why?
It can, so melatonin
at 1.5 milligrams.
Yeah. So this is the other problem with melatonin is that obviously what he's giving you is going to be a very a reputable company that's going to dose things properly. But when they've done research on melatonin in labs and they just take random ones off the shelf and they'll test what they say is 1.5 milligrams could be 10 times higher.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. Like it's so bad.
What do you think of this company?
Yeah, well, if it's Dr. Cowan recommending to you, I would trust it. He definitely does his research.
Because I've noticed this does seem to help my sleep.
Yeah, no, I've used inositol and L-theanine myself. I prefer to do my research and buy the supplements from a reputable brand, but as an individual, so I can get what I want out of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If I want 100 milligrams, I don't want.
You'll do the dosage.
I don't want the other. Yeah, I don't want the other stuff. Like the other thing with melatonin is that when you start giving, it's kind of like testosterone. When you start giving yourself more of it, your body stops naturally producing its own, and then you're going to be in this kind of fight of like, am I getting it from an external source, or am I producing it? And then if you're getting way too much of melatonin at night, then you feel groggy the next day. I just don't mess around with it. But if it's what it says it is, and
Yeah, so as long as it's the 1.5
yeah, it's like, see how like small of a dose it is?
I think Designs for Health is a decent brand.
Again, like I would listen to Dr. Cowan. He's a good
He scared me on this melatonin shit.
Did you read the bottom? Out of all those pills, it says for the melatonin specifically, do not drive or use machinery for 4 to 5 hours.
Yeah, I mean, I don't play around with melatonin.
I once took melatonin on a flight to Aiden and I were going to Oktoberfest. My brother-in-law wanted to take his daughter because at 16 you can drink there. Yeah. So it was like their dream to take her to Oktoberfest. I have no idea why. Yeah. And I committed to taking Aiden when they were both 16. They're the same age, the two cousins. And so we go, and I'm like, I'm going to hack this sleeping on a plane thing. Finally, I'm going to hack it. I had never taken melatonin before, so I didn't know the dosage on any. Oh, geez. I took way too much of this melatonin. I'm on this Lufthansa flight. I start hallucinating on the flight. So I'm on this, like, it's not like business class, but it's not economy. I'm in slightly more space where you can kind of stretch out a bit, like, I don't know what you call it, a premium
preferred seating.
Whatever. You get a little, so you can kind of stretch out a little bit. I remember stretching out and then reaching out into the aisle and like thinking I was grabbing at somebody walking by.
You're that guy on that plane with that woman.
Yeah. I was totally hallucinating, and I remember waking up out of it. It was like I was awake, I was dreaming, but also aware and awake. Yeah, if that makes sense. Like lucid dreaming.
It wasn't melatonin; those mushrooms, dude.
So I basically had some melatonin that was laced with mushrooms by the sounds of it. But I was like lucid dreaming, and I remember coming out of that thinking, I'm never going to touch this again. Yeah, and I honestly didn't even know melatonin was in this thing that Dr. Cowan gave me until So no, maybe I won't try. Maybe I won't use it anymore.
I just prefer to again do the research and see what research has worked at what dosages, and then use the dosages that are recommended. Because I don't play around with supplements where I'm either wasting my money by not taking enough or doing something harmful to my body by taking too much of it.
Yeah, got it. I'm going to ask him on the next appointment I have with him. I'm going to ask him about that specifically and how confident he is on that dosage. Because I know when I don't take it for periods of time, like for example, when we go to Croatia or whatever, I just won't take it at all. It doesn't seem to affect me by not taking it.
Yeah, that's good then. That's a good sign. Because if you were on it and then you came off and then you couldn't sleep at all, then you might have something. Mm-hmm. Just like the other stuff I've come on and off, and being off it for a night shouldn't make you like not sleep at all.
How much REM sleep do you get?
Personally, I'm not tracking anything right now. I don't.
Okay. In the past, did you? Are you slightly aware?
Yeah, I've used Whoop before and stuff like that, and it varies based on how hard the training is and where I'm at as far as like what type of training I'm doing and how well my body's recovering. So I can tell when. Right now I'm I feel like a bit of an overtraining state. So my sleep's never as good in an overtraining state.
Yeah. Can you just talk about that? We're going to talk about the 12-hour ride for Haiti, but what are you doing to train? What is this and what are you training? What are you doing now?
Yeah. So I'm training to ride the Echo bike, which is like a bigger version of the assault bike, for 12 hours straight to raise money for my brother's not-for-profit, the Dream Dealer. And I told my members that I would do 1 calorie for every $1 raised. So we'll be around 7,000 calories on that bike over 12 hours. So that's what I'm training for.
Just so if you're listening to this and you don't know what an assault bike is, it's that bike that has like a big fan on the front of it. And when you cycle on it, it also has your arms moving. So you're kind of going back and forth. So when Dan gets Mike and I to do this at the gym, we usually do it for like 10 minutes and we're sprinting for like 20 seconds and then taking a rest, or 30 seconds and taking a rest. Mm-hmm. And we do 10 rounds of that for 10 minutes. And that absolutely destroys me. Mm-hmm. And Dan's trying to do this for 12 hours straight. Yeah. Where you're going to ride this thing.
The thing, yeah. I'd say a decent clip.
But this is now like to train for this. How are you training? Because this feels like slightly dangerous to me now.
Yeah, it's definitely like anything. So this would be considered ultra endurance. So you have like ultra endurance runners, ultra endurance cyclers. Ultra endurance runners is anything past the marathon stage. And then they'll get up to like crazy, like 100 miles, 200 miles, 250 miles. And then there's something called backyard ultras where they'll run a 4.6 mile loop every hour on the hour until only one person's left. And the world record for that is like they go for like 4.5 days.
So it's a death march.
Yeah. So for bikers, typically anything over the 200 kilometer range, I'll be in the 400 kilometer by the end of the 12-hour range. So it's ultra endurance.
But aren't you carrying too much? Like, I've never thought about this until you're saying it now. Aren't you? Isn't your body type just carrying too much muscle to do an endurance thing for 12 hours?
Yeah, no. Well, so here's the difference between me riding an echo bike and riding a bike on the road. Me riding a bike on the road, I have to carry my own weight. Me riding the echo bike, I'm moving the fan. So being a bit bigger actually gives me, I think,
got it, because you're not moving your body, but you're sitting stationary.
Sitting stationary.
So your legs are working, your arms are working
against the fan and that belt system.
So it's just a power output thing, an endurance power thing.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like nobody. I don't think anybody's.
No, like, has anyone done? Is this like some kind of world? Right? Has anyone done this for this long?
Somebody did. Those old school Airdyne.
Yeah,
but it's different. Those are so easy. Have you ever ridden?
Yeah,
those?
they're easy. Yeah.
I can get like a million calories an hour. Yeah. So somebody did something like that. That's the only thing I could find. Nobody's ridden this. The Echo bike is the hardest of all those.
So can we record you for some Guinness record here?
I tried. I applied and
it's too hard.
They're just, I don't know. Okay. It's like, it seems like some nonsense bureaucracy. And they kept on wanting to take more money from me that I could send to the kids in Haiti. I'm like, forget these guys.
For context, though, this assault bike is not like a Peloton. It's not like a stationary bike. This
and it's also not like soul. Yeah, it's not like people who have been on it and are endurance riders who I've talked to, they're the only ones who understand. Even people who just like who have done long distance bike rides, like, oh yeah, I've done 100K bike ride. It's not the same, dude.
Not close.
Why did you pick this to do? Like, why are you doing this? Like, I know you're raising money for your brother.
Yeah, that's why.
In Haiti.
I think that it had to be something that matched what I felt those kids and everything that's going on.
Wouldn't it be more fun just to do 10,000 cleans in a row?
Yeah, I don't know. That also seems like hell, to be honest.
No, I know, but this sounds like Mike's saying, when we do this for 10 minutes, I get off that thing and I'm destroyed.
You are outrunning a hurricane while pedaling through quicksand. That's what an assault bike's like.
So how are you even training for this? What are you doing?
So I do 4 rides a week. So 2 of them are interval based to keep my legs strong and keep I work on my VO2 max and my body's ability to clear lactate. So I have these 2 nasty interval workouts. It's the interval workouts are, I think, worse of a feeling than my long ride days. And then I have 1 long ride where it goes off of my heart rate. So I stay in a zone 2 heart rate, which makes it an easy ride, which is, we call that aerobic base for your aerobic capacity. So I'll stay at about 125 beats per minute and I'll ride at whatever that, it will change based on how well I'm recovered, basically. So if I'm not well recovered, then...
But you're not measuring your recovery.
No, that my heart rate is a way of measuring.
Oh, okay, got it.
So I'll keep it at 125 beats per minute. Some days that's 59 RPM, some days that's 56. So like if I'm not well recovered, it'll be lower. If I'm well recovered, it will be higher. So I do that once a week, and then I do once a week where I'm building volume at race pace. So my race pace is 58 to 59 RPM, and I'll just hold that pace I've gone up to 4 hours now. So I went 4 hours at 59 RPM. I did 2,500 and something calories. During that time, I work on just understanding what I'm feeling, because you go through these ups and downs through 4 hours. I'm telling you, there's minutes where you feel like you're on top of the world and you can take on anything, and there's minutes where like I would give anything to get off this bike right now, and you just have to be used to riding those waves. And then I practice my nutrition. So like every half an hour, I got to make sure I'm getting another 20 to 30 grams of carbs in. So I have these gels and bars, Salt is in all the gels. I have salt in my water. I have electrolytes in the water I'm drinking as well.
Because the danger here is you lose all this stuff.
So yeah, people have died when they drink too much water and not enough salt, and then their body shuts down because you need salt to be able to function.
Should you have I know you know so much with nutrition, but do you need a nutritionist or someone to be monitoring this thing?
I've thought of it. I've been writing everything down, and this is the thing, is I've kind of deep dived on all the research, including the nutrition side of things, and everything is like these are our recommendations, but it's so personal to you. So like when you sweat, you're going to lose a certain amount of sodium out of your sweat. When I sweat, I'll lose a different amount of sodium. So what they recommend for one person is going to be different. It's like it's almost like trial and error.
This is in January
20th. Yeah.
And then, like I said, multiple people are going to be monitoring you through the 12 hours.
Yeah. There'll be a lot of people in the gym and stuff.
No, I know, but somebody really paying attention to you.
Yeah. So my wife.
Yeah.
And Jacob will be there as well.
Okay.
And then I have like, again, everything. There's
the
no
more
like
I'm learning about this, the more I'm scared for you.
Yeah, there's no real science behind, because like how many of these people are you going to test and see, and then what you end up realizing is, again, one person's burning glycogen at a higher rate than a different person who's sweating a different amount of sodium, so it becomes very individual.
Shouldn't we reach out to some performance institute that's going to want to measure you?
They should.
Like, this is like an experiment.
They should experiment. I'm
because no one's done a 12-hour. It's not. You're doing it not on the assault bike. You're doing it on the Rogue Echo bike.
Yeah, which is harder than the assault bike. Yeah.
So damn, that voice in your head that nobody else is going to hear.
Yes.
When it's haunting you. What are you saying to it?
That's a good question. It depends on which part of it I'm at. So the moments where I'm like, I don't, those type of things keep popping up in your head. I just focus on getting to the next, like whatever I think the next switch up is going to be. So like I'll be like, I just got to get to the 55 and I'm going to have a gel. If I get to the 55, I can have a gel, I'm going to feel good. And I'm like coaching myself through, like, and then I get the gel and I'm like, okay, I'm good.
Is it going to be annoying to have people around you? Like, is this the kind of thing you just want to be like in yourself? You know, because I could see people at the gym kind of cheering you on, but if you're in a fucking bad mood in the middle of this, I would want to say like...
It's somewhere in the 6-hour range. I think that I'm going to be in the worst mood.
So like maybe you have to tell Rachel to keep everybody out of the gym for a couple hours.
Yeah, or like just away from me. I'm pretty good. Like on the 4-hour ride, it's like watching the gym in a time lapse. So I see like the early morning people come and go, and then the next class stretch and work out and come and go. People will come up to me here and there and say, oh, how are you doing? Whatever, but they don't bug me too much. Sometimes it's good. I'm like, oh, you know, I found another cheater in the gym. This guy doesn't know how to catch reps. This guy can't count reps properly. This guy's squats suck. We got to deal with this later. So I just like kind of It's
tough to find people with perfect form like myself. You know what I mean? So
now are you going to have headphones on? You listen to the gym music? How are you going to?
I have headphones on.
You need a 12-hour charge.
Yeah. So I'm going to have a charger for both my phone and my AirPods. So, and I have 2 sets of AirPods, so I'll probably switch them back and forth. Sometimes it's nice just to take them out and like, I'll just talk to Nick. Nick always comes in on Saturday morning. So we'll just, you know,
and
I can hold my
day
pace.
Of the week is a Saturday you're doing it?
Yeah.
And you're going to start at what time?
6 to 6.
You got a walkout song?
A walkout song.
Survivor.
This is the thing. This is another thing I noticed. The music I play can't be too hype and it can't be too low. It has to keep me in the middle. So there's a really good book called Mind Gym that I read when I was fighting, and it explained it like perfectly to me at the time. When you go out for any kind of event, whether it's like a fight or you're playing hockey, whatever it is, you're going to go into it, and naturally you're going to be on usually one end of the spectrum, on the fight or flight spectrum. Okay. So you get those people who come out and they're the fight. And out of 10, they're a 10 out of 10, and they're ready to rip somebody's head off and, you know, just murder. Right. And then you have the really flight type who are like, just come out and they just want to turtle, and hopefully, you know, somebody just is nice to them while they die, whatever. Right. So you have 1 to 10 there.
That's Nick. He's turtler.
Yeah.
We can say that. We can say that when he's not here.
I've seen Nick punch a brick wall.
What are those big blocks? The cinder block.
Cinder block, yeah. So you have to know where you are on this spectrum, right? So if you're a 10 and you come out in a fight as a 10 and you go for 30 seconds as hard as you can, what do you think happens for the rest of that round? Your adrenaline spikes hard, and then your heart rate goes.
That's totally my style. You just summarized my style.
You're going to dip so hard, and then you're going to get the crap.
That's me on every CrossFit workout. Guys, take it easy. Come out guns a-blazing and then just crash.
So then you crash hard, and then it's almost worse than coming out at a 1. But if you come out at a 1 and you're so passive that everybody else passes you or beats you up or whatever, then you're not in a good spot either way. So if you can find your 6 or 7 out of 10 and find what gets you to that place where you have enough of that killer instinct to put it on when you need to put it on, but you're holding back enough where you're very conscious and cognizant of everything that's happening, so that technically you can be very good at what you're doing. So if you're fighting, you're thinking, you're moving, you're addressing what's happening in the ring.
So what's the music going to be? Fireworks by Katy Perry?
Yeah, that's a good song, actually.
It is a good song.
Yeah. So I played around. I personally like stuff like country, gospel. They like put me in the right mind space without it getting too, if I go like rap or rock, then I'll get a little bit too hyped up.
No Thunderstruck.
It's like AC/DC. No, my heart rate's going up. AC/DC is
a negative on the AC/DC.
Yeah, like everything just getting too high. If you're playing, I don't know, some Lionel Richie or something, then I'm not getting to the point where I can keep that pace up where I need to keep it up. So it's finding that
Tina Turner. Are you too young to know that?
Definitely too young.
Yeah.
For Tina
Okay.
Turner.
Tom Jones.
But like anything in that where I can just find my rhythm and lock in and just let the music play, then I'll be good. I have like 3 different playlists now that are like an hour and a half long each, and I just kind of let them cycle through different genres, whatever.
So yeah, and then the goal is to raise how much money?
7,000.
And where are you now?
5,000, just over 5,000.
So you're going to get there. It's January.
Yeah, once Rockstar makes that donation.
Where's this lingering in the background? We're lingering. You're going to have to lean on me for that one. Yeah, we already talked about this.
I know. Nick's like, listen, I'm not going to donate because I'm saving your life.
Actually, there might be some validity to that. Yeah. That might be the truest thing of love that Nick has ever shared right there. So I wanted to ask you a question about... so Mike and I, I'm 50. Mike is 53 turning. Yeah. So I'm turning 51 in January, actually. When you did our latest programming that we started for the first time in the spring, I feel like it was, you did more like just what I call it classic weight training and a little bit of sprint at the end. So I guess what was your thinking? Right? You can make whatever jokes you want about us, but what was your thinking? Because it was a little bit less wall balls and cleans and stuff and more, some bench press and I don't know, dumbbell curls and stuff that we've never really done. So what was your thinking around programming for us at this age?
Yeah, I called it cross building.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
because it worked really well. Like that 12-week cycle, I came out of that and I felt, Mike, I think you did too, right? Like I felt amazing coming out of that.
Yeah. So a lot of times when we're pushing the limits of our body for long periods of time and a lot of explosive work or a lot of high intensity interval type of work, we can get to a stage of either burnout or our body is not able to recover from that type of intensity all the time. So I like to take it back and then build a foundation of strength, but also build muscle around the joints so that we can get back to a place where we can be explosive again. We can do more high intensity stuff, but our body's going to be more resilient to that. So what I'll do is I'll design a program where we'll focus on a bit of strength work in the more traditional strength work with squats, deadlifts, bench press, pull-ups with weight, those type of multi-joint compound movements. And then I'll add some bodybuilding into it with your, more of your classic dumbbell curls or tricep extensions, push-ups.
That's just for aesthetics, the bodybuilding
No, the bodybuilding stuff is actually really good for the joints. So if I can make your triceps stronger, your biceps stronger, your elbows are going to be in a better place. If I can make your rear, front, mid, delts, chest, upper back stronger, your shoulders are going to be healthier, right? So it's not just the aesthetic side of things, because of course it helps the aesthetics because you're in a state of hypertrophy, which is muscle building. It's going to look better, right, when you're building bigger muscle. But the way I design it, where we're working push, pull, and we're working unilaterally and bilaterally, which means that we're working both 2 arms or 1 arm at a time, or 2 legs or 1 leg. So for instance, if we work squats, we also work lunges, because we want to improve any of your imbalances you have left to right. Same with the upper body stuff. We can do bench press. We can do dumbbell bench press. We'll get a little bit different stimulus, but we're also making sure that left and right, we have balance. And that way you're healthier long-term than if you're just doing barbell bench press and you're constantly driving a little bit more through your stronger side than your weak side. Eventually that's going to break down the weak side. So
that's why you have to do the dumbbell bench press and not just the barbell.
So like, it may seem like I just give you this program that, you know, has a bunch of cool bodybuilding stuff in it, but there's a lot of thought process behind that in what I'm doing.
I could tell by the results. Yeah. So by us doing this again, and I think we're just on week 3 because we had like 16 false starts in the second round, but like we're on week 3. On the end of this one, are you going to recommend for us something completely different, do you think?
At the end of this one, we'll just see where you're at. And a lot of times it's just mentally where, like, what you want to do.
Okay.
You know, do you want to add some more muscle? Do you want to get in better shape? Because like being in really good, like cardiovascular shape or good with intervals, stuff like that, you would come out of some of the volume you're doing there with all the bodybuilding and the strength stuff and start to incorporate more of the CrossFit style intervals or rowing.
Okay. And then I guess I have a question on the programming you did. I definitely have a weak spot. I always have, just because I never focused on it, was doing bench press. But then through the programming, I remember I got up to, I thought it was a pretty easy 245 pound bench press, which for me, like I had never done that before ever.
Yep.
And to do it fairly easily was interesting. Someone who's my age, if I try to go this time and say, okay, well, I'm going to go 250 now. That's only 5 pounds more. Do I have to start worrying about like my shoulder health and just like, is that too much weight for someone like me to even move around? Because I remember when I mentioned to Nick, he's like, be careful on your shoulders. You know, I don't know what you're doing. And I don't think he knows all the programming we've gone through to get there.
Yeah.
But is that a valid thought? Or
it's a valid thought for sure. It's just making sure that you have enough volume of pulling, specifically horizontal pulling. So bench press is a horizontal pushing movement. Okay. So to offset that in your body, so a horizontal push, you're going to work your chest and the front of your shoulders a lot. If you only do that, and you see it with high school kids in the gym, you're going to end up with shoulders that are rounded forward. Shoulders that are rounded forward are not in the right place. And then you're going to start having shoulder issues. Right? So horizontal pulling is the opposite of that. When you pull in a horizontal fashion, which can be like a ring row or a dumbbell row, any type of row variation, cable rows, then you're going to work the other side of those muscles, which is your upper back. And that's going to pull those shoulders back where they should be when you're sitting with proper posture, and allow it to sit in the joint properly. And also on top of that, make your bench press stronger because you're sitting in a better position when you're bench pressing. So when you're bench pressing, you should not be rounded forward. Once you get set into the bench, you should be able to pull back into a good position to bench press off of. So by making those muscles strong, we're going to keep your shoulders healthy and in a line, and then your bench press is going to get better and your shoulders are going to stay healthy. Now, so
you think I can do 250?
Yeah, 100%. I think you could do 250.
You're looking at that like I shouldn't even talk about it because it's
no. I think it's cool. I just don't think that you should
talk about it.
No. I don't think you should like be afraid to do it.
Oh, okay.
You know, like
I wasn't until Nick freaked me out because I have to admit Nick's been right on a lot of stuff that I've done in a stupid way. Yeah. And so when he said that, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
But then like, he hasn't looked at the programming that we're doing.
Yeah. No, I think
with all those horrible dumbbell back fucking shit rows that you make us do.
Yeah. So it's about having a balance. Back and front, left to right, and its balance will bring your body into balance and you'll be stronger all around. So as long as you don't skip those back days, then we should be good. And then if you don't deviate from proper form while you lift heavy. So when it's not your day, it's not your day. And you can't force it to be your day.
I think we've both felt that.
Yeah.
Some days you just feel
it's like you go in there and in your mind you had 250 and then you get to 225 and
it's not
need
happening.
to be like, I'm 50 years old. I got to be smarter than a 20.
And it was that day that I did 245. Do you remember when we were loading the bar? I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like let's go another 5 pounds. Like it just felt like it was right.
Yeah.
Now, Dan, what about somebody that's, in between their 30s and 60s? They don't necessarily go to a gym now. They want to work out. Maybe they work 9 to 5. So going earlier, just life, kids, they can't go earlier than 9. They don't want to go after 5 because they're not comfortable. They know the gym's most busiest after 5. So something they can do from home, because we are coming up to the new year, people do set goals. If somebody wants to start working out now, is there a particular home workout routine, assuming they have no equipment, that somebody can do, male and female, that you would suggest to, hey, here's a good starting point?
Yeah, personally, I would just have somebody like me write out a home routine for you, and it would just be body weight exercises. So just squat, like you can squat, you can lunge, you can do burpees, you can do push-ups, and you can do all kinds of core work that you stick them into different circuits or into EMOMs or put them as supersets. There's just a million ways you could take those body weight movements and put them into 20 to 30 minutes, and you'll be well on your way to getting a good workout in and feeling good and staying healthy.
You know what helped me, Mike, doing that? Because I'm just listening to this, because that would be me at like 40 years old when I really hadn't gone to a gym yet. I didn't realize how hard you could push or how far you can push your body. So it was helpful to go to a class that, like the Dan's classes that he run, and then working out with you, because I came to realize, oh shit, I can push my body way more than I thought I could. Because if I just started with the home workout of push-ups and pull-ups and some stuff, I think the volume or amount I would have done would be so low, it would almost be, I shouldn't say useless, but it would be really, really low. Whereas when I came to Radix and I saw people around me pushing, and then I pushed myself a little bit further, I realized, oh my God, like my body's capable of way more than I thought it was. And it allowed me to push more, harder, longer. Not that I'm some super athlete. I just mean before I would have, I think
everybody who's not in the gym or experienced what it's like to push themselves in those type of situations, like but not only for physically, mentally, like as a person.
It's so good, man. But I don't think you get that at a global gym style where you're going to
like if you're the type of person who's going to go there, feel intimidated, walk on the treadmill, and then be like, yeah, those kids are doing bicep curls in the squat rack, I'm out of here. What's the point, right? So like getting somewhere or finding someone who can start to push you outside of your comfort zone to somewhere where each week you're kind of progressing to a new level of what you're willing to accept as like normal.
So maybe the thing for a goal would be go to Radix, or if you're not in Radix area, go to a gym that has classes like this to just see what other people are doing, not to measure yourself against them, just to help you push yourself and feel comfortable pushing yourself, and then retreat back to the home gym or whatever. I feel like for me, that would have been like, I think now if I had to give myself instruction, it would have been, okay, get to some of these classes where people are pushing themselves, learn from these people for 3 months, 6 months. And then if you can't keep that going in your life because of what you're saying, Mike, then do it at home after that. But it was just so helpful to see how far you could push yourself.
You have to. I think you will never reach your potential as a human being if you don't push yourself into uncomfortable territory, like on a weekly basis. And I think we've lost it as a country. Like we just it's so, people are soft. I don't care. I'm just going to say it. People are so soft. Everybody wants the easiest, most convenient thing for that to happen to them, and they don't want to have to deal with any type of trouble or any type of whatever pain. And so we're constantly running away from it all the time instead of leaning into it and just heading into it head first.
Agreed.
And then
that extends to so much stuff.
Everything, man.
That extends to finances and the government and like saving money. Like you tell people in this country that we can't run deficits, and they're like, well, how are we going to pay for this? And we're like, well, we have to save money by cutting elsewhere. Yeah. And everyone kind of retreats with that. Or everyone in government like, oh my God, we can't cut over there and have somebody suffer to save money here. Well, let's just print and rob from everybody. Anyway, I don't know how we took that to inflation.
But heaven forbid that you can't have your $7 Starbucks every day to save some money, right?
Yeah, and we're speaking about like the physical benefits from working out, but there's also these mental benefits, because if you're not exercising in some form and you don't have the best eating habits and best sleep recovery, you're tired. You're mentally tired.
Oh, 100%.
But if you're
running on like, what's the percentage of your output are you actually running on?
Yeah.
30%. Like who wants to run on 30% of what you're capable of? You know what I mean? Like, do you know what I can accomplish in a day because I'm in shape, because I eat enough and I eat the proper things, because I get enough sleep every night? You can accomplish so much more than anybody thinks. You know what I mean? People think that what I'm doing is crazy. It
is crazy. 12 hours on the bike is crazy. I'm not going to let you say it's not crazy.
I can do that. I can have a business. I can have 3 small children, right? I can still have my clients. I can do all these things and still accomplish that. But you have to be willing to accept the fact that that's going to hurt for 12 hours straight, and you're going to be okay with it. And B, that the people around me are not going to suffer because of it. That was another big thing in my mind when I committed to that, is that this is not going to take away from me, my children, my wife, my business. Like that stuff has to still be prioritized. Right. And maybe, physically I'm going to take a beating, but I'm okay with that. Right. But, and I'm telling you, every time I go on a longer ride on that thing, I unlock new levels of what I feel like I'm capable of in my head.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I can handle so much more pain than other people think I can, than I thought I could. And I'm just willing to accept that. And I'm willing to hurt in the moment and grow from it later.
There's always another gear, but you're only going to get to that other gear by going to a dark place.
I think people who haven't experienced that a little bit can't figure out why you would do it. So if you haven't worked out for like 10 years or 15 years, or since you were in university or since you were in college, you kind of have to go back to pushing yourself a little bit to feel that a little bit, to understand what Dan's saying. No? Because otherwise, if you're listening to this and you really haven't pushed yourself in 20 years, you can't even understand what Dan's saying. You're just thinking, well, that's nice to hear, Dan, but I'm not doing that. And it's not for me. Because that's what I get from most of my friends who don't go to the gym at all. They're like, I'm not going. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. But I'm like, well, if you went and you felt how it felt to feel good, you would go more regularly.
Do those same friends complain about stuff in their life?
Yeah.
So
I complain about stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, like the same people who will tell you that are the same people who will be like, I don't have enough energy. I don't have enough this, or I don't like the way I look, or what.
Yeah, so can't sleep well. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
So, but it's like, you think that they're just going to go away? One day it's magically, you're going to wake up and it's not going to be the same unless you do something about it. It'd be like one day magically I wake up and there's $5 million in my bank account and I never earned a single dollar of it. Either I won the lottery, or somebody died and gave it to me, or somehow I figured out how to make that money. Right? People seem to be able to kind of wrap their heads around it when it comes to working for a living, because you have to, otherwise you're going to live on the street. But why can't you wrap your mind around that same type of mentality for your body?
I don't think they can see themselves in their 70s and 80s, so they don't understand how their body's going to be.
But they might not even make it to their 70s and 80s.
Or they might, and it's going to be horrible.
Yeah.
Mike, what keeps you you're busy. You have 3 kids. You're busy with everyone you're working with. Why are you making the time? Like, what's going through your head? You're just like, how are you prioritizing it? Like, I don't get it.
So I have to schedule it, else it's not going to be done. And it helps that we're going together. But, I've been,
You've always been going to the gym in some way?
It's like 14, 15, an uncle. Do you remember those weights? They were plastic. They had concrete inside them.
Yep.
And we were living in a house with an unfinished basement. We had the weight set down there. And I think I was like 14, 15 years old.
Like the Canadian Tire special.
Yeah, big time. And we all got in that position where one time you couldn't get that bench up. The bar's on your chest. You're alone in your basement. And you're going to tilt it to one side and all the weights are going to clank off or die. And then it's going to take you the other way so you can dump the other weights. But it was ever since then. And I think just being an only child, I was always active in some type of sport. Back in the day, you used to go to the park and play with your friends. Now today, everything's organized. There's no such thing, right?
No.
Yeah, but back in the day, and I think just like lifting weights, because I used to play like competitive football. If I didn't, I'd get smoked. So it helped out putting a bit of muscle on, and I haven't looked back since, because I'm the opposite. I don't feel good if I don't do it. as opposed to some people just don't want to put in the effort to do it. If I don't do it, I just don't.
And then how strict, I think we have a good idea of what Dan tells us to eat and not eat now. Fairly good. We always go off it.
Yeah.
But
everybody does. It's impossible.
Yeah. You like kind of dial back in and then you kind of cheat away a little bit and dial back in. Are you pretty diligent? Like you eat?
No. So, hey, I was at Starbucks today.
Yeah, of course.
I saw this. No,
you got like a muffin?
No, I got the spinach feta wrap and a matcha green tea. So that's pretty good.
Oh no, that's pretty good.
Yeah, no, but I saw this cinnamon bun. This was new. And so Dan, it said 380 calories. So if I consume that and go on the assault bike and burn 380 calories,
then you're at a
but 300.
Am I even?
Yeah, you're even.
380 calories on the assault bike is death.
It's going to take you, about 38 minutes at a 10 calorie per minute pace.
Yeah. Okay, well that's good to know.
That's not too bad.
And so you will but you know what? You have a freaky ability of, I feel like, eating carb, and it's, I don't know, you handle it pretty well.
Yeah, for now. Yeah.
Some people are good carb burners. Some people are more fat, are better at burning fat for energy.
And how would you figure that out about yourself? Just testing? Because I feel like I feel good with protein and fat and a little bit of carb, because I need the carb, especially we're following what you're doing and you're pushing us. But I feel like if I have too much carb, I just feel slow and groggy.
Yeah. It's exactly it. It's a process of trying things out and elimination of what makes you feel good versus not. Like, I'm a super high carb burner. I eat a lot of carbs. My fat, I would say, is like on the like in the middle. My protein always stays the same. My wife Rach is more like you, more of a high fat burner, low carb burner. So they call it being metabolically flexible when you're good at burning both. So if you can have a good amount of fat and carbs and you don't gain fat, then your metabolism's in a good spot. So I'd say Mike's is in a pretty good spot
where he can kind of flip back. When you do the 8 week, you do 8 week challenges with people right now. When somebody signs up for a new 8 week challenge, at what point in those weeks do they start to feel that the diet is really affecting them?
4 weeks.
So even 4 weeks changing your diet.
Yeah. The first week is a bit of two things can happen. One, people who eat really low protein diets before they start are usually actually really full, because protein takes longer to digest. And so they feel full longer.
And you don't have to snack.
Yeah. They're like, oh my goodness, this seems like so much food. But if you look at the total calories over the day, they're actually eating less than they ate before, but they feel fuller because of all the protein. It just takes time for your body to build the right enzymes in your stomach to break it down, and you get better at doing that. But also because protein will keep you fuller longer. And then there's the people who just ate way too much all the time, and they'll feel hungry at first as their body starts to recalibrate what is normal again. But then those first 3 weeks will happen, and pretty much everybody loses weight during that time. And then the fourth week is when people are like, man, they hit a groove of it's becoming a habit. I have more energy. I recover better. I feel like they feel dialed in, and they also have a bit of purpose for what they're doing. It's just they're not mindlessly eating. A lot of people just mindlessly eat, or it's not an offensive thing. It's like a defensive thing. It's like, oh, I got super hungry. What can I grab? Where am I? Where can I stop? That's defensive eating, right?
The 8 week training, you're doing challenges for people all local, or you do remote 8 week challenges?
I've done people in Europe.
So they reach out to you and say, hey, program me up a workout schedule and a diet plan.
Diet, weekly check-ins. Some people who are a little more high maintenance are more daily to every other day check-ins, which is fine. But yeah, it's the diet, it's the working out, it's the getting them moving more on a daily basis. It's the getting outside and walking.
What I noticed on the time we did it, Mike, do you remember we were 3 or 4 weeks in the spring, this past spring, and Dan checked our weight and I guess body muscle composition. I can't even speak to it. I don't know what you were checking.
Just checking how much muscle mass and how much body fat you have.
And you said something, you're like, wow, you haven't gained as much muscle as I thought you would have gained by now. And then you asked me the protein amount I was taking. And for whatever reason at that time, I had stopped taking protein shakes and I was just off it for a while for no good reason other than I just kind of lost the habit. Yeah. And then I reintroduced it, and I could totally tell in the next few weeks I was adding muscle.
Yeah.
So it is important when you're doing this to have enough protein?
100%.
Can you have two? I know Dr. Cowan always shocks me where he's like, you really can't have enough protein. Like you can, don't worry.
People are pretty, that's a macronutrient that most people are pretty good at regulating.
Because you're just full.
You get full, yeah.
Yeah, so really, like, you don't have to, I guess it's dangerous to make a generic comment, but you don't have to worry about how much protein you're having. Just eat protein.
Yeah, unless you're like one of those people who are trying to like make a statement about it. And you know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah. And then you eat like, 300 to 400 grams of protein.
But in general, just listen to your body. When you're full, you're full. But
yeah.
you can
once your body stops using protein for like rebuilding muscle and stuff like that, it just goes through a process where it turns it into glycogen, and it's used as carbs at that point anyways, like the same idea, but it's just such an inefficient way to get glycogen. Plus, like, man, I don't know. I know some people who would like love to have that like 30-ounce steak or whatever, but like you can eat one of those for one day and then that's pretty much what you're going to eat for like a 24-hour period, right? So I just prefer to have it built out over the day and have that constant source of amino acids coming in for helping me recover. But yeah, it's like, again, you would get so full trying to like put in 300 grams. Like people get super full the first time they try to do 150 to 200 grams. So I can't imagine.
What's an average chicken breast?
Yeah. So like 6 ounces, you're looking at like 35, 40 grams of protein.
Holy shit. Yeah. So you can have like 6 chicken breasts.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah. So like for me, it's like in the morning, it's going to be either eggs, or if I'm going to the gym early, there'll be a protein shake. And then I'll have a post-workout shake because I work out in the morning afterwards. And then I have a second breakfast that's like steak or beef, grass-fed steak or beef. And then for lunch, I'll have chicken. And then my next meal, I'll have either fish, beef, chicken again. And then my next meal, I'll have Greek yogurt and protein powder again. So like I'm just constantly feeding the amino acids in my body.
And would that be the same for Mike at his age?
Yeah. So it's not even age. It's just going to be your weight. So if Mike weighs 170 pounds, we're going to try to get him to be at least 170 grams of protein per day. And it can be, if he's trying to gain muscle, that could be up to 200 grams. For me at 200 pounds, my minimum is 200 grams. And then like personally right now, I take in 240 grams of protein a day just because of the amount of breakdown that I'm putting on my body.
And then why were you talking to Mike about creatine?
Everybody should take creatine.
Why? Because
it's the most researched supplement ever in the history of man, and it works for so many more things than just building strength and muscle. But if you want to get stronger and put on some muscle, take creatine. But then, oh man, there's so many more health benefits that are coming out of it for like elderly people,
like mental clarity and that kind of
stuff. Fighting against like brain dysfunction, stuff like that. Your body needs the creatine. If you're breaking down muscle, you need to put the creatine back and to get the most out of what you're trying to do.
Now, are you
5 grams a day.
Cycling on and off?
No, I've been cycled off creatine since I was like 15 years old.
And then you are consuming this even on days that you're not working out?
Yep.
Okay.
But I do work out an absurd amount, but I'd still take 5 grams a day.
In a shake or something.
Yep. In my I do it in my pre and my post workout shake. So I take 10 grams a day. So we had World's Strongest Man, Mitchell Hooper, at our gym. And then he was saying how he took 10 grams a day. And I said, if the world's strongest man is taking 10 grams a day, I'm taking 10 grams a day too.
Is there something in particular, most people lean on coffee in the morning for energy. Is there something that you consume that you're saying that this is why I'm feeling like energetic in the morning?
Oh yeah, coffee. Yeah, okay. But besides coffee.
Okay,
so caffeine is one of the best pre-workouts you can take because it stops the receptors of like the pain you feel. So you feel less pain. You can push harder into your workout. So like anywhere between 100 to 200 milligrams of caffeine, which you can get from coffee, or you can just take a caffeine pill. And caffeine's in pretty much every pre-workout for the kids out there. It just works.
I remember taking this big, massive cup of coffee from Starbucks right before a CrossFit workout when we were doing the open competition. This is way back, 5-6 years ago. And one of the workouts, you did a whole bunch of burpees or something, but afterwards you had to do your like max clean within like 5 minutes or something like that. I forget. Yeah, and it was James Meggs who was loading the bar, and I had this massive coffee, and I was just like, I felt like I was just wired. And I think you recommended, or someone recommended, to listen to this Rocky speech right before the workout. So in the car, I listened to Rocky like talking about something. So I just warmed up and went right into this workout. And I remember when I got to the clean, and I was just like, put the weight on. And James, I think it might have been James and Charles, and they put like uneven amounts of weight on. And I was just like, move aside. And I just kind of cranked the bar off the ground. And for me at the time, it was a heavy lift. Yeah. And I remember getting it done, and I attribute it all to the coffee. Yeah. I swear to God.
Caffeine helps. Just like if we go back to the sleep part of that whole equation, anything after 12 is probably going to mess with your sleep. Any caffeine after 12 o'clock. So I try to cut my intake of coffee off by noon. And then the days I have big rides, I don't drink coffee. I'll just take a straight up caffeine pill because I just want everything to digest a bit quicker before my big rides. But it helps. Caffeine. And I take other pre-workout supplements, but again, I buy them. I don't buy a pre-workout. I buy them as their solo, whatever it is, and I dose it according to the research so that I get enough of it. The pre-workouts are typically sold with not enough to get the recommended dosage for what the science shows will give you the benefit. So then you're just kind of like getting a little bit of whatever, but you're kind of like just pissing your.
I feel like if I had a pre-workout before this, made my skin crawl.
Yeah, that's beta alanine. Oh, but again, they'll give you maybe 1.6 grams when you need 3.2 to 6.4 grams, and so I'm going to dose it myself, and I'm going to pay way less to dose it myself, and I'm not going to pay some company to brand it and put a bunch of artificial blue stuff in there that I'm going to have to consume with it.
Is there any supplements that I'm just picking on you at 53 that he should be taking that other people maybe, or at a different age, you weren't taking?
Yeah, so like
TRT.
Yeah, we can get into that too. So before we go to like straight up testosterone, I think to cover your basis, you need omega-3s, vitamin D, vitamin C. If you don't eat a lot of fruits and veggies, if you do eat a lot of fruits and veggies, you'll get enough of that. And then I like Mariva for joint health and inflammation.
What was that one?
So Mariva SF is made by Thorne Laboratories, and that one is based off of turmeric, but it's uptakes better when you ingest it with some form of black pepper. Like it's like 1,000 times more potent. So they kind of do they do all that for you. I take 2 of those pills in the morning and 2 mid-afternoon, and keeps my inflammation levels like way down. So that helps if you're working out hard and you start I'm not as old as you guys, but I am creeping on 40 and I do an absurd amount of working out. I do notice a difference taking stuff like that to help keep the inflammation down from all the hard training and stuff like that. So I would recommend those kind of things for general health.
I think I've been taking that for inflammation before. I think Dr. Cowan gave me that one. I should go back on that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's my probably my favorite that I've noticed the most difference being.
Okay, and then what about recovery for Mike at 53? Do you think about that differently? Like right now, I think we're only going like 3 times a week.
Which is good. 3 times a week, weightlifting is good. And he's doing your assault biking like 100 calories like almost every day, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's good to have that balance. Like if you're looking at general health for 40s, 50s, that balance of strength training, because every year after you're 40, your testosterone is going down, your ability to hold on to muscle goes down, your bone density, all those things. So strength training takes care of all that. It's going to keep the muscle on. It's going to keep you strong. It's going to keep your bones dense. So you got to have that. But then you got to look at the cardiovascular side of things. So him hopping on the assault bike and doing, I like to have a combination of 2 intervals where you get your heart rate really high and then bring it down and repeat.
So that's why you have programmed the sprints at the end of the workouts?
And then I like zone 2. So zone 2 is that easy ride, that easy jog, and half an hour to an hour, a couple times a week, and it's going to keep your heart healthy. The zone 2 research is like the mortality rates are way better. You live longer. All those.
So what are the 10-minute sprints, on-off sprint cycle that we're doing? What's that then?
So it's like that's anaerobic threshold stuff. So it's getting your heart rate used to like being super jacked up and then recovering from that process. So it just gets you in like a way better shape in less time spent. but you still need to spend
the 30-minute, 45-minute zone 2 type of activity.
If you only do that and you don't do that, you're missing out on a bunch of fitness that you could have.
Is walking my dog zone 2, or that's too slow?
It depends if somebody's
trying to cheat, man. I'm going to squeeze this in.
Yeah. So you just got to get you'd have to get a heart, or you have your Whoop on.
Mm-hmm. So I threw it out now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, me too. So if you could check your heart rate, if you could be somewhere in the 100 for your age, 120 beats per minute, then you're kind of zone 2. The other way you can,
too slow.
Yeah. Okay. The other way you can tell if you're going too fast is if you can't hold a conversation while you're doing it, but it can't be like, if you're walking at like 80 beats per minute, then it's not high enough to get in the zone.
Okay, so then when we were wearing our Whoop bands, I remember on some workouts where we were really pushing ourselves. I think Rachel got scared a couple times because I'm like, oh, look, Rachel, I think my heart rate or whatever was like 200, it hit 200 or something temporarily. And then I remember the look on her face was like, but then I think it was okay in the end.
Yeah.
Is that just not an accurate reading?
Yes, the Whoop bands on your wrist are not. I only wear chest strap heart rate monitor because that's the most accurate. Okay,
so it probably wasn't hitting 200.
Your max heart rate at your age is in the 180 range.
So 200 was just a Whoop thing.
It's just the band not picking up your heart rate properly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then TRT for like, what's your thoughts on it? I know we talked about it recently at the gym. Like, is it just too much of a pain in the ass, or case by case? Or
definitely case by case. If you are low testosterone, like, where you're completely depleted, free, total, everything is low, then I would definitely be something I would look into. But what I would say is, what are your lifestyle factors like first? Because I would never go on TRT because I have low testosterone. And then my lifestyle factors are, I sleep 4 hours a night. I never work out. I don't do any cardio conditioning or anything along those lines. My diet is absolute trash. Yeah, obviously you have low testosterone. You treat your body like garbage. Mm-hmm. What do you think
don't
is
use it
happen?
As a cheat.
Yeah, because what's going to happen on TRT? You're just going to end up with super high blood pressure, and you're just going to be 20 pounds heavier, because I guarantee you gain 15 to 20 pounds once you go on TRT. But
really?
Yeah, 100%. I know guys who have gone on it who are in super good shape, and they eat well, and they gain 15 to 20 pounds because you're going to hold on to water weight. You're going to put on some more muscle. If you're eating like crap, you're going to put on fat too. So all of a sudden you have a guy who has blood pressure issues already because he doesn't take care of himself. He has low T because, again, he's not sleeping properly. He's not lifting weights. He's not eating properly. And now you give him something that's going to make his blood pressure go even higher. He's going to gain more weight that he's going to have to carry around all day long, and he's not in shape. And you could, possibly end up killing this dude. So
that's the thing is like, aren't you then stuck on it?
Yeah. So you go on it long enough, and then your body is going to stop producing it, and because it's getting it from an external source. And then depending on what your age is, you come off it, it might not turn back on ever again the same way, or you might get a little bit, but like each person obviously is
so you need to be monitored on this stuff.
100%. If like you're going to go to some bodybuilder who like makes it in his basement sink and then just start injecting it into your butt, you know what I mean? Like it's such a, definitely see a doctor. But man, if you don't have all your ducks in a row, you do not deserve to be on this stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, get your life fixed. Go to bed on time. Start working out. Start eating properly, and I guarantee your testosterone is going to go up. If you're low T and those are your lifestyle factors, yeah, you gave yourself low T. Like your body, you're abusing your body. And then you add on top of that, the same type of person is probably drinking some beers and wine and whatever. I could tank my testosterone if I wanted to go get TRT and I was going to tank my results so that they would put me on it. I would get drunk the night before and eat a bunch of crap and not sleep. And then I would go and I would take the blood test and I will have low T. That's how quickly somebody who's taking care of themselves can like dip themselves into that range where they'll prescribe TRT for you. So if this is like a crutch, like, no.
You've gathered all this information over the years because you love it. Mm-hmm. So people, do you find they find you have Radix. Mm-hmm. which does classes and, you know, all this stuff. But ultimately, like, you're a strength and conditioning guy. Like, is that how you like kind of look at yourself? Because you know all this, so much stuff like about CrossFit workouts and nutrition. Like, how do you define yourself? Like, why is John Michael Bianco like finding you? Because of strength and conditioning advice that you give him?
Yeah. So with JM, for example,
who just won? Can you share?
Yeah. So JM is the Canadian super middleweight champion. And I've been working with him through his whole pro career.
Who just got globally ranked, you said? Now.
Yeah. He's ranked number 38 in the world.
Yeah. Who was on the podcast earlier this year sometime.
Yeah. Yeah. He's so good. We're headed to Nova Scotia for his next fight next weekend.
And is it a threat, this guy? I guess now
he's a Mexican guy. Not like, listen, nothing against Mexican guys, but some of them they bring in, it's kind of like just an in-between fight, because they want him to fight for a WBC Intercontinental belt, which is like the next level for him. So he's staying active. So again, you don't come into a fight ever unprepared or ever underestimating your opponent, because if you want to get knocked out, ask Tyson Fury what it's like when you don't bring some
John
respect
Michael,
to that game.
James, like when he's working at the gym, I'll never forget when he was working at the gym and me and Mike were working out, and we didn't really know him well at that point. Not like we know him super well now, but we know him better. And I made a joke at him. I'm like, hey, dude, if you really want to work out, like I'll work out next to you just to keep you honest. And he just looked at me like dude, are you serious? And I thought he was going to punch me in the face. And I'm like, dude, I'm joking, man.
Yeah, he's the nicest guy ever, but he's so competitive. Oh, yeah. So for him, I was in the combat world for so long, and I had been doing strength and conditioning for fighters for so long. So
so you're known in that community.
Yeah, and reached out to me. I've worked with multiple pro boxers who have won titles and big belts. So I'm known in that community. I just think that I'm a strength and conditioning coach who could work with a pro athlete, but I could work with anybody. And I don't just enjoy the pro athlete side of things. I enjoy seeing people change their lives. So to me, that's the fun part, is to see a guy who comes in who has no confidence in themselves and looks like crap and, can't look anybody in the gym in the eyes, and then give me 6 months with that guy and he's a whole different person. And he's a whole different person the way he looks, but he's a whole different person with the way he interacts with people around them, you know? When you're not in the body that you're meant to be in, there's no way you can have confidence in yourself. A lot of those people will have a fake confidence, or what I noticed as a kid, a lot of my bigger friends would be more like clowns. They would make jokes to like make fun of the way they looked, but inside that's just a huge insecurity that they're trying to deal with. None of us are meant or designed to walk around 100 pounds overweight. We're not. That's why people die early. It's just, we're not meant to be like that. So when you're walking around and you're in the body that you're meant to have, and you're operating at a high level, you operate on a high level on all different levels. Business, with family, your interactions with friends. It changes everything. So I know if I can make that change with somebody, then I can change the whole aspect of their whole life. And to me, that's the best part. That's the funnest part. And I have sometimes I forget also that so much of the knowledge I have, it to me seems basic, but to other people, it's like a mind-blowing moment when I tell them something. And when I see the look on their face, I have to remember that sometimes I'm dealing with people who are on a kindergarten level of nutrition, or a kindergarten level
or kinder egg.
Yeah. Exactly. Of fitness. And I just need to give them the most basic prescription, because they just need to understand that like eating protein 5 times a day is going to make a huge difference in their life, you know, like, so that's what I enjoy. I enjoy seeing the change. I enjoy seeing people become a whole different person. There's a study that shows that the people who have big weight loss and keep the weight loss off long-term, it didn't matter what diet they were on. It didn't matter what, training program they were on, whether they were boxing for fun or skipping or running or lifting weights, didn't matter. Whether they did keto, low carb, high protein, didn't matter. The only factor that combined all these people who kept the weight off long term is they perceive themselves as a new person. Mm-hmm. That was the only factor. So they refused to be the person they used to be, and they identified as somebody completely different now. I'm not the fat guy, I'm the fit guy. And I've seen that with Tony. You had Tony on the podcast. We were here with Anthony. He's not the same person. He's not the fat guy. He's a different person. He perceives himself in a different way. And that's why he's going to stay that person, because he doesn't want to be the person he used to be.
Do you find most people it helps that Mike's going to the gym because it kind of keeps me honest to show up, but I guess that's what the classes do. Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to figure out how to convince people to go.
The community is a huge...
The community. So the class, the community you get from going to the classes
you meet the people and you start to realize that like they're nothing more special than you are. Mm-hmm. They just show up every day, right? At first, that's why everybody's like, oh, it's intimidating, whatever. But you get to meet these people and you're like, these people are not intimidating. If I actually show up and I learn, the workout itself is not intimidating. I just got to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember the second CrossFit workout I ever did. I threw up in the bushes outside, and
that's when they had you doing sled pushes, right?
Oh, that was a different time. No, I didn't throw up on the sled pushes. Okay, but that definitely, I think, made me. I think we did the sled pushes. Who threw up on those sled pushes?
Not me.
No, we did strong. I think, no, not me. We also didn't talk about the strongman workouts that we did at Radix this summer. This past summer, we won't talk about that.
We will bro. That's bro work.
The bro coaching is on the side.
Yeah, the dead hangs.
Yeah, the dead hangs.
Oh yeah, no, thank you for reminding me. I would just like to tell everybody that I threw out my back for the first time ever. I don't know if that's the right language. Tweaked my back, sprained my back, whatever you call it.
No, yeah,
because nothing to do with Dan. No. But Mike, watch it. No, tell everyone. Can you please share this with everyone? I'd like everyone to know. Maybe help them not do this. Can you just share? What did you get us?
It might help somebody actually feel better though.
Yeah, 50% of the people.
It's like a 50-50 shot.
It's just hanging from the bar.
No, but what did you buy us?
These
fish hooks.
I can't even laugh because I have the same exact ones.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, what you bought us these hooks?
Yeah, you just dead hang from the bar, a minute each for 3 minutes.
Like a minute on, a minute off.
Yeah, exactly.
For 3 rounds.
And I think it threw out your back day one, but we kept going.
I think
because we weren't sure if
I thought it was helping, so I was getting off gently off the bar, but it was feeling very sensitive.
Right.
And I just thought, oh, this must be good because I'm stretching. And the only time I really got scared is when Dan came into the gym and looked at us, kind of shook his head and said, "What are you guys doing?" And and then I realized maybe this is a problem. And then I did it one too many times, and I just got messed.
I think like a combination of two things. One is just too long, too fast. So like everything I do now, like I've just been injured so many times because I'd like always doing this crazy stuff, but you always have to progress and always start at the easiest progression and let your body adapt over time. Your body gets really good at adapting to things and progressing slowly. But if you just hop into the 3-minute hold, then you might be in for some serious... Your body's like, what is happening?
I could barely walk.
I've never hung
for like 2 weeks
ever, and now I hung for 3 minutes straight.
That's
and
the
your
style.
Spine is
what
like
I've learned
elongated.
No, but what I've learned about Mike is Mike's just like a natural athlete or more athletic than I am. So like he'll just do things just much more naturally than I'll do them. So I shouldn't try to match what he does.
The other thing that you have to realize with Mike too, and he said it himself, it's like since he was 13 years old.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
That's a like
not since he was 39.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, like this for me, I'm like 2 decades into this. Yeah. So when people are like try to compare themselves to me, I'm like, yeah, okay, but give me 20 years here.
Okay, so but this is an interesting thing because now I'm just deadlifting again from getting through this, just recover, whatever. I sprained my back a little bit. It's fine now. I'm deadlifting again. But now I have multiple friends who have told me and multiple people have told me, oh, I can never deadlift or squat because of my back, like my... Carol's Carol's brother. Yeah, like multiple people have said this, that they can't. Is it just that they're trying to go too hard, too fast? Like, should they just ease into it?
Yeah,
someone says, "Hey, I can't lift weight because my back."
Yeah, and it's like, okay, well, so what's wrong with your back? Because you could X-ray, like 90% of people will have some type of like either disc herniation or something going.
We all kind of have it.
We all have something. I guarantee you. Now, I wouldn't recommend you go get an X-ray and start to like give yourself a mental breakdown over it, but it's just there. We all move and stuff happens, right? And even just compressing force over time. So, but I would be like, well, so what about your back is stopping you from doing this? Is it because your core is weak, your glutes aren't firing properly, your hip flexors are too tight? I guarantee you there's something else along those lines that is going on that is causing your issue, not you being able to, deadlifting is a natural human movement. If you've ever picked up something off the ground, which I hope you have, at least your clothes off the ground, you've deadlifted weight off the ground. So the fact that you're going to tell me that you can't do that anymore because in your mind you've perceived this movement of a barbell to be the reason why you're going to get back pain is like, to me, it's mind blowing. So something's wrong. Something doesn't work properly. Either you're using your lower back because your glutes are weak and they need to be strengthened, or you can't keep your back in a proper position because your core is weak and you never use it.
So how do you find that out about yourself? You go to someone like yourself,
somebody like
and
me,
then you analyze the way somebody moves.
You see how they move. You see if they're able to keep, first of all, the proper form in the movement, and then you see where things start to break down. Like, do their knees collapse in when they go to squat? Well, then their glutes are not strong and they're not keeping them in the proper
Okay, so how about somebody like Nadeem who came with us to the gym, and when he squatted he couldn't get very low? Is that something he can improve on by just, you would program him to just practice sitting in a squat over time, or trying to go deeper over time?
And or mobility work, because why can't he go low? Is it because his ankles are tight and his knees can't go forward and out enough? Is it because his hips are tight and he can't open up his knees enough to sit into? Like, there's just so many like factors. So we would start to play around with what is tight, loosen that up, have him squat, use it just like a goblet squat, help him get lower, help him feel his core firing so he's not losing position while he's doing it, you know? So it's good to have somebody who knows what they're doing to start to assess and to break down.
Is someone like me going to be able to deadlift into my 70s?
Yes. So I watched a dude on Instagram who's like 70 something, back squat like 500 pounds the other day.
I think I saw the same one.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It was going around everywhere. But
because my dream job is to go to Croatia. There's rock walls in Croatia that have like over 100 years all fallen apart. Yeah. I just would like to go there and rebuild kilometers and kilometers of rock walls, and then drink olive oil and wine. And that's like my...
And every time you talk about those fish that you get...
Yeah, those little fish. I don't even know in English what they're called. They're like French fries.
Yeah.
When you come to Croatia and visit, we're going to have them. I just get a plate like French fries. You just eat them like that. They're amazing. The whole thing, the tail, the head, everything. Yeah. And they're not sardines. For anyone listening who tells them, or they kind of just do a little tiny little bit of a flash fry. Yeah. So sometimes there is a little bit of like bready, floury stuff, but just a tiny bit, and they kind of fry them.
Amazing.
Oh, they're so good. Yeah. I have that, and this is my favorite meal. Liver. Yeah. Like amazing liver, a plate of those fish, some beautiful white wine, some nice water with an espresso after. Oh my God. I'm going back to the beach. I'm feeling like $1 million. I feel like maybe that's the wine, but I'm feeling like $1 million. I swear, after weeks of eating liver and fresh fish, I just feel like...
Especially the liver you get from there is probably like top quality.
I assume it is. Yeah. It tastes really well. And all the restaurants there are very picky on their supply. Like, people will talk and say, don't go to that restaurant. We don't like where he sources the meat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like that's a big discussion on like which restaurant sources the meat from where.
Yep.
Is like a constant discussion.
If somebody doesn't go to Radix, if they don't go to their own gym, what would be a stationary device that you would recommend that they get if they wanted something at home to start working on losing weight, getting in shape?
And a salt plate.
Perfect. Okay. So and then the one weight. They have limited space now. They can pick one weight.
A dumbbell or a kettlebell. One of the two. Because then you can, with the dumbbell or kettlebell, you can squat it, you can lunge it, you can press it, you can row it, you can, you can get crazy and do devil's presses with it.
Or there's a company out of Montreal. I have this at home where it's Bowflex had something similar where you turn the handle of the bar and adjust the amount of weight that's on that bar. But it was a particular Montreal company because when you lifted that dumbbell, if the weight was less, the actual bar wasn't as long, because some of those, like the bar remains long, whether it's lightweight or heavyweight.
So it stays in a good position.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the main thing.
Yeah, something like that. You could do anything you ever wanted to.
And Mike, with you measuring, you're wearing a Whoop band right now. What do you appreciate measuring the most, or what would you suggest people measure on these devices?
Yeah, I think it's knowing what affects your sleep. I'm not so it does strain and recovery. And I'm not so much on keeping track of the strain, although it's good to see how much output you had that particular day. And it's interesting to see what causes that strain, but it's the recovery or lack of. So alcohol is a very good reminder.
Oh, for sure.
Once you cross 50 and you have even like one or two beers or
glass of
wine. Yeah. Then the following day, to see how this device is stating that you didn't have the device didn't know I consumed alcohol.
Okay, so you
but it's monitoring HRV, heart rate. Yeah, you can see how high your heart rate is now elevated throughout your sleep and how low right? HRV.
HRV you want high, and and then your resting heart rate you want low.
Yeah, it's the reverse when you consume alcohol, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you noticed any activities that take a lot of effort that you were surprised by? Like for me, it was teaching a class. It sometimes thought I was doing a workout.
For sure. Yep. That
stress,
simple yard work. Yeah. But the nice thing about like exercising is that everything else in life becomes easier. Yard work. If you help out with any of your kids' activities, like a lot of this stuff. I recently had to help somebody take some furniture out of a house because we were putting it up for sale. Just
I thought you were going to say you're
decluttering. No, and just like taking furniture up and down the stairs, like. You're just making the rest of your life a lot easier, these other little things. Yeah. But personally, like an action item that I would say if somebody wants to set a goal for this year is hold yourself accountable and start off maybe doing 100 push-ups a day for 100 days. But if you miss a day, you got to make up for that.
In what chunks would you do the 100 push-ups? 10 at a time?
Question. Whatever you can do.
Yeah. If you could do 10, then just 10 do 10 at a later time.
Sure. Just throughout the day until ideally you probably get to 2 sets of 50. But just get yourself to 100 days of doing that. If
2 sets of 50 is serious.
Yeah. And then as a woman, maybe it's air squats. Start off with 100 air squats for 100 days. And then maybe that's just body weight in the beginning. And maybe if you have an infant, the infant's in your arms eventually.
Yeah. So 4 sets of 25 on the push-ups is also fine, no?
Sure.
Yeah. Anything. Move more.
Yeah. But the key here is it's not just, I think we all hear or read something and we're like, that sounds good. I should do it. Set it. Like I'm going to do 100 of this for 100 days. But the key is, if you miss a day, that gets tacked on. You got to be held accountable for it because we've all been there, miss a gym for the week and you're not making up for it.
We're going to do a push-up competition after this.
Perfect.
I get to do bro reps. Would you ever go, but now that you've been to Radix and you've done more squats and deadlifts and that kind of stuff, would you go back to like a regular gym? Like, because some people don't have access to a Radix kind of place. Like, what have you learned by going to Radix that has changed your thinking around fitness or your activity at the gym? Because you went to the gym a lot. Like you were doing bench press. I feel like you did the tricep thing, the curls and the bench press.
Yeah. Many years ago. No, it's the community that, it's so different. I never used to do stuff like the assault bike. Now I have one at home. Like I enjoy it. I dreaded that thing. Now I go into your gym, jump on the assault bike. It's one of my most favorite things to do. I'll stare at that wolf on the other side of the gym. I'll look that wolf in the eyes. You got to get a real wolf head, by the way. Yeah. When we were talking about what are you saying to yourself when that voice comes in your head, like, I'm tired, I don't want to be doing this. I stare at that wolf.
Let's go kill a wolf. Oh man.
But there's always a second gear. Always a second gear. And I realized this most recently where I've been doing 100 calories on the assault bike for 100 days and I've missed a few days. So that's getting tacked on. So most recently I had to do 200 calories. Usually when I'm doing 100 calories, once I get to 50, I see it in my head as I'm on the lap back, like as if I was riding a street bike. I'm on the lap back or I've reached the mountain. Now I'm coming down. Yep. So recently I had to do 200. So usually I dread once I'm at 50 because I only have to do 100. Yeah. But now that I had to do 200, that 50 was easy. Yeah. Mentally, it was so easy. Funny. Yeah, it's crazy.
Have you seen that study they did I think it was done in the 50s or 60s. I don't think you can do this anymore. But this guy had lab rats and he put them out in water to see how long it would take them to drown. And he would let them drown. And so the first experiment was it took them however this amount of time to drown. And then he's like, okay, so what happens if I put them in and then I take them out just before they drown? I think it was like 15 minutes and I put them back in. How long will they last a second time? So I'm pretty sure it was about 15 minutes they would drown. This time takes them out, wipes them off, gives them a little break, puts them back in. They lasted for days afterwards. Days, not 15 minutes. not 15 hours, for multiple
because
days.
of the hope.
Because they had a hope that somebody was going to save them and pull them out of there. But physically, they had the capability to go for days, and they let themselves die in 15 minutes. But with something in whatever, I don't know if a rat has like whatever's going on in their head, but the fact that they thought that they could be saved and they wouldn't die, somebody's going to save them, they had the physical capability to go for days. So what we're capable of doing physically is so much beyond what we're willing to handle mentally if we can't deal with that fact. So like for you, it's just the hope that 200's coming up faster than, you know what I mean?
So I think unfortunately too, that's something that our general practitioners don't recognize either. And they're going to give you a pill rather than tell you to go out there and exercise.
Do something about it.
Yeah. You got high blood pressure. Here's these pills. Yeah. You can't sleep. Here's these pills.
Yeah.
Dan, if someone wants to donate for the 12-hour ride for Haiti, where do they go?
thedreamdealer.org.
The Dream Dealer?
Thedreamdealer.org. And it's right, the donate button's right on the homepage. As soon as you go on the website, you'll see a picture of.
And this is for raising.
This is raising money for the kids in Haiti. My brother's not-for-profit funds a community center there that takes care of about 100 kids. They take care of schooling, clothing, food. They bought a bakery oven, so they bake bread for the kids. They sell the bread in the markets. It's really bad there. The poverty. These kids don't have the money or the opportunity to go to school, so this gives them that opportunity. The gang life has gotten really bad there. So even for the guy who runs the house with his wife, he'll bake bread and he'll sell it in the market. He has to pay a couple gangs on his way to the market just to get to the market to sell the bread. So these kids have like very little options as far as where they go with their life. So the schooling gives them an opportunity to get an education. My brother will also bring in different experts and stuff, like they taught the ladies there how to sew, make clothes. They brought in somebody to teach them how to make bread. And so they have food, they can sell the food. They brought in a metal worker who showed them how to work metal, and then they built the kids' soccer posts so they could play soccer in the field there, whatever. So all the money, 100% of the money goes down to that. This is not a charity where like we're paying anybody to do anything except for paying to make sure that this house stays up and running, that these kids are taken care of. So to give you an example of where $7,000 can go, that will pay for that house to stay up and running for 2 years. So like the money goes a long way down there. So yeah, thedreamdealer.org.
You're going to ride for 12 hours. How many calories are you going to burn?
7,000.
7,000 calories in 12 hours. You're allowed to have a Cinnabon, dude.
Yes.
12 hours. 100%. Mike? Hey, Mike, not so much. Okay? Yeah. I'm joking. You're doing all these calories.
I was listening to some ultra endurance guys on a podcast, and they were talking about eating for stuff that's 12 to 12 plus hours. And yeah, they're like, honestly,
you can eat anything.
They're like, just keep eating. You have to keep eating. Otherwise you're going to shut down.
So, and with the date of it?
January 20th.
So January 20th, Saturday, January 20th is when this is going to go down, the 12-hour ride.
Yes.
And then anyone who wants to jump in either remotely or in person for an 8-week challenge or join Radix, where would they go for that?
If they go to hello@radixgym.com, and we will get your email that day. We respond within the 24 hours. And just let us know. We have a couple of guys on the 8-week challenge now from the last podcast I did here. So like we get back to you right away. We get you going, and we get you results. So yeah, all you have to do is just get a hold of us and follow the plan.
So hello@radixgym.com.
Yeah.
Thanks guys. And then Mike, we got to bring you back because we didn't talk about, I wanted to get an investor update from you on everything real estate related. So we're going to bring you back for that chat. But cool. Thanks for this, guys. I appreciate it. Mike, were you going to say anything else? I thought no.
I thought you were going to try to pitch the 8 sleep one more time.
Next time. Thanks guys. Hey, thanks for tuning in. You can find every new episode of the Your Life, Your Terms show on all the major streaming platforms. So Spotify, iTunes, Google Play. And if you'd like to get free copies of some of the books that we've put together, like these right here, or some of the reports that we've put together, like these right here, you can find all of those at www.rockstarinnercircle.com. That's www.rockstarinnercircle.com. That's it for now. Until next time, your life, your terms.